And we are live here around the Last Word Campfire with my co-host Ty Guy Travis.
What
The
up?
esteemed and elusive Lord Cognito is nowhere to be seen today, but he will be back to the campfire as soon as he can be. He just seems to have stepped away for other things today, out there in the real world, fighting the good fights. But Travis, how you doing,
Sound
man?
a little stuffed up over there, buddy. Are you okay?
I've been fighting a cold for a couple of weeks, so I might.
Weeks?
Yeah. I mean, I've had
Is it a
allergies all
terminal
my
cold?
life, but it's normally it's like, hey, if something comes in, it usually like works itself out. But this one's hanging on, so I might
Wow.
have to go take something.
Our our boy Cog is dead, everybody.
That's a bit
Dead.
extreme.
Yeah. Hasn't been here for so long. How many weeks has he been MIA? Do we know he's still alive?
Yeah,
For a fact?
I confirmed, talked to him. Yeah,
Okay. All right. I've only seen him on DMs, which means could be somebody else sitting at the keyboard. You never know.
I mean, could
Never
be,
know these
but
days. Oh, so you haven't actually talked to him on camera.
not
You have no
camera, but
confirmation.
voice. I have.
Oh,
I got I,
bruh.
I got a voicemail. It's oh he
Mm,
no
AI could do that.
nobody's no. You're not gonna be able to copy Cog's voice.
I don't know, bro. Who's with me? Sound off in the chat. Is Cognito still alive?
It's Teddy. Teddy's the one at the keyboard. Teddy chimes
Honestly,
in.
he could do it. I would trust him. I would trust him
Teddy hacks in.
to,
He's like, I got this.
yeah. I'm jacking into the system.
Well, what have you
Absolutely.
been up to, sir?
Oh, yeah, I forgot you asked me a question,
I
and then I
did. Yeah.
deflected with stupid um, what am I doing? I did a preview of, I went to Canada, ugh, recently, and, I saw a video game called South of Midnight. That was pretty
Indeed.
cool. Which I could talk about. And then I am getting ready to review Path of Exile 2 coming up pretty soon here. So got some stuff, bro. Got some stuff I'm working on.
Nice.
But other than that, like it's been kind of slow. Like IGN isn't doing a lot of contract work at the end of the year here.
Yeah.
A little bit of a slower period, and so I'm just sort of taking the time to catch up games. I got to vote in the Game Awards this year.
That's
Didn't
cool.
go my way.
How did
Um,
just specifically you or as part of IGN or how did that go?
Yeah, I got invited to participate, which is kinda cool.
Damn.
So,
Is it just like your
yeah,
kind of presence of reviews and stuff that you do kind of getting you a seat at the table or
I don't know, bruh. All I know is they hit me up this year when I
that's
got to
awesome.
submit a little form. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Do you feel like
And
weighing in on the Game of the Year controversy or do you even care?
oh, I would love to weigh in. I'm so upset because nothing I nominated got on the list except for, um, Metaphor ReFantazio
You didn't
and
nominate Balatro?
Balatro.
Okay, I was like, you had to
Balatro,
do
yeah,
Balatro.
Balatro, yeah. I did
So,
Balatro as well.
thoughts on first expansion category? Should there be one or not?
Yeah, I mean, that is sort of the problem, right? Is I think there's 2 reasons that that got nominated. One is there is no best DLC/expansion category, and there absolutely should be one.
Yep.
And the second thing is that I learned through this process of voting that Keeley has extremely loose qualifications for what can be nominated. He does not provide any guidance. He just says sort of like, "I trust you. You tell me what should be nominated," right? Which means that people have different opinions on stuff. I appreciate the idea that he's like very laissez-faire and trusts that people will nominate stuff, but I feel like he could provide some guidance and that would be really useful. Like, for example, in the forum, there's one where it's like, vote on what you think the best action game was.
And
And you're
then
like, all
action
right, well,
adventure game, right?
and the action adventure was the next one.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, well, I think I know what an action adventure is, but I don't think everyone agrees with my definition. Same with RPG. RPG can mean a million different things to different people. And so I have a lot of questions when you tell me that a game is an RPG. I'm like, well, what type? You know, is it like kind of an RPG because you have loot? Is an RPG because you have a level up skill screen? Like I have a lot of questions when
Yeah.
people say it's an RPG. So I think it's more of a product of the format just being extremely loose in terms of what getting nominated. I was told straight up that if I wanted, I could put GTA 6 as the winner for all categories and it would be accepted. A game that isn't out
Because
yet.
I mean,
I could just say, yeah, it's my game for everything. GTA 6, best sports/racing game, GTA 6. Like, I could just do that,
I mean,
and that
it
would be
it
fine.
probably will win that category when it comes out, but it's not out yet, so that's fair.
Yeah, but if I convinced everyone to do that down ballot for just the lols, that would be the winner, and then Keeley would have a problem on his hands.
See that?
So,
Yeah, you need a little bit like, I do appreciate the him
yeah,
not
he wants to
wanting to
show he doesn't have
influence,
his thumb
yeah,
on the scale, right? I appreciate that, yeah.
but also it's like, there need to be some reasonably agreed to guidelines as to what is what.
I
Well,
will say this, though, one of the only things he clarified during the process was a clarification, "Hey, just by the way, in case you're
FromSoft is
wondering,
winning something.
expansions can be nominated for Game of the Year." Like, just clarified that a whole lot, and I was like, "Okay, we get it, buddy.
Yeah, it's
You
like
want
cough,
Elden
cough,
Ring
hint,
to win."
hint.
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty so, yeah, no rules, but also, like, advice and counsel given. I don't know, man. Look, I'm happy to be a part of it. I think it's pretty cool. I hope it'll be a fun thing that I get to participate in the future, but I have feedback. I'm a critic. I
Yeah.
doubt that there's anybody he invited to that document that is not a critic who had feedback. So, I nominated for Game of the Year,
Like, yeah, what were yours?
Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth,
Okay.
which I think should win.
Oh, you think it
Did
should
not get
win the whole
nominated.
thing?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Have you played a better game this year?
I haven't played it, so I can't judge on that one.
Oh, okay. I would say it's the best game this year. I
Uh,
mean,
what
of the
what are
games that
your
got nominated up
what are your
there,
runners up?
Rebirth, I would not have nominated. I didn't nominate Rebirth. I think my runners up were Balatro. Oh, I nominated Asgard's Wrath too. So part of the reason I found out you can put GTA 6 as every category is because I asked clarifying questions. I was like, hey, by the way, can I nominate Asgard's Wrath 2 because it came out last year, but it came out after the Game Award
After the window,
nominations in
right? Yeah.
December. And they were like, "Yeah, you can do that." And I said, "Okay, cool." And no one else nominated that game. It didn't even get nominated for best VR game because it
That's
came out in
sad.
December. Yeah,
Just because it's
because it
like
came out in
it's
December,
yeah.
and Keeley doesn't like remind everyone like, "Hey, by the way, the cutoff date last year was here, so here's all the games that should qualify from last year."
Yeah.
Like none of that counsel or guidance is given. And so my favorite game in the past year is not represented anywhere. So, because
Well,
actually that should be the actual game of the year. If you're talking game of the year, that's the game that pushed the industry forward the most in the past year, and it's not nominated because it came out in December. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a bummer, right?
yeah, that whole timing thing is kinda like, people release movies closer towards the certain Oscar window for the same principle. It's kinda recency bias, but it is kind of a shame it hits that hard, especially when I remember that thing reviewed well everywhere. Like, I mean, and it's
Yeah,
not even
it has like
nominated
a
for gaming, not
it's like
even nominated for VR game. I don't even know how that doesn't
yeah,
equate.
it's because everybody forgot. That's why.
Yeah.
There's no reminder system. There's no like, and this is like something I like about IGN when we do our internal game of the year. We talk a lot about like what counts and what the categories mean, and there's like a lot more collaboration. I feel like the Game Awards could really benefit from that. Like just a couple meetings to go through like, hey, here's what this category means. Here are the games that qualify. Here are the things to keep in mind, etc.
Well,
And
I've heard like BAFTA's kind of an interesting one because that's like you have to have played it, and then they like kind of
yeah,
talk about it, and then there's like discussion. I've heard that one's actually pretty interesting. So if you get a
I
BAFTA, I
mean,
feel like that's a
I
pretty
think they
legit
should
one.
I think they should all be like that.
I mean, yeah, I feel like for one, you probably shouldn't have played it if you're voting on it or anything, and then two,
Yeah,
there should be some kind of discussion. If you were like, "Oh yeah, Asgard's Wrath, totally in here," just the reminder to the people who were involved probably would have done a lot just to get that thing, even if it didn't win, just to be nominated for sure. There's no
yeah.
question.
But instead, the Batman game will get nominated because it came out last month,
Yeah, I
even
heard
though
that was
it's
good
like
too.
worse. It's good. I beat it. It's a good
Yeah,
game. The other thing that's tough about game awards is like usually I make it a goal to beat every single game that gets nominated in the Game of the Year awards for any category. Um, and I'm still on track to do that this year, but not by the time I have to nominate. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like there were some games that came out like that week, and then I'm like 109 hours into
metaphor.
Metaphor, and it's like, well, I'm not done with it, so technically I shouldn't be able to nominate it for anything, but I
How
mean
is
I
that coming
did.
together for you?
It's really good. It's a good game. I mean, my problems with it are that it really doesn't do anything new. It just follows the formula of JRPGs like to a T. And as you know, that is sort of disqualifying for me when it comes to Game of the Year. But I think the other story that nobody's really talking about with Elden Ring being nominated is I think part of the part of the thing that we should be thinking about with that getting nominated is not that it got nominated, but that maybe this year wasn't very strong for games if it was able to be nominated.
Say
Like
that
even if
again?
expansions qualify,
Oh.
I'm saying even if you take expansions qualify, maybe the fact that it got nominated for Game of the Year reflects more on the year we had as a games industry than it does on the people that were in the nominating process.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I mean?
that's fair. I mean, there are some years are like last year had a lot of bangers that were, kind of all landed together, so it's kind of a bit more difficult to figure out what was what. This year it was I feel like this year wasn't a shortage of games, but it's just not like a shortage of the big tent poles that a lot of people think about. But if you're like, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, one of the best Metroidvanias I've probably ever played, and like
Yeah,
top 5 of all time in
and
that
probably not
category,
a
in
lot
my
of people
opinion.
played it as well.
Yeah, it was like it
Yeah,
didn't sell, the team got
I
shut
nominated
down.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it was like I saw that one actually got nominated, I think for action, if I remember correct, something like that. So I was happy to see it get nominated, but unfortunately,
I
it's like,
nominated it for action and not action adventure. Sue
yeah,
me.
I mean, yeah, you could. It's 2D, but I mean, who knows? So
I don't know. I really don't know what action adventure means
yeah,
holistically.
I was
I
trying
have
to
an
go through and look at some of the stuff that I played and to see like what belonged. It's like, I played Banisher's Ghost of New Eden, but I wouldn't probably nominate that for like
definitely
action
not.
adventure.
Good game though.
Yeah, it was fun. But I was like, I didn't play Rebirth because I never got around to it. I'm trying to look through some of the list here. I know that what was this year specifically, not just like it came out this year on another platform. Dragon's Dogma 2, I saw that got a nomination. And that was like technically bumpy, but kind of cool in its own right. Just like
I think I nominated that for RPG. I think that got on
uh
my list.
yeah, it's like Stellar Blade came out. No Rest for the Wicked. Like that one's I think gonna be fantastic when it ever
Oh,
is like a
so
full
good.
release. It's got so
Yeah, when it
much
gets full
potential.
release.
Uh,
Yeah,
Stellar Blade,
absolutely.
I saw actually got a nomination, which was cool. I've heard people really raved about that one quite a bit. Yeah, then there's
I
like
wouldn't
there's no
nominate that
early
one.
access category like Hades 2 or what else is early access? I don't know if Our World was early access or not, or if that was a full
It is early
blown.
access. I would not I don't think you should nominate early access games myself.
Yeah, that's a whole different problem. Is there's so many that are coming out in that category that makes early access a weird thing.
I mean, you
Uh,
can have a best early access game genre and then just clarify that early access games shouldn't get nominated for Game of the Year, which would be my preference, but I'm not in charge of the
yeah.
Game Awards.
I mean, the size and
Yet.
scale, yeah. The
Yeah.
size and scale of Shadow of the Erdtree is a substantial, like, DLC. It's not just like, "Hey, here's the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown DLC." It's like 4 hours. Like,
Yeah.
that was
That
quick.
is
Like,
true, but also that game is just more Elden Ring, right? And if you're
yeah.
talking about game of the year, like the game that defines the year, is the game really defined by just more of a game from 2022?
Well, that's kind of the thing too, is, like, it shouldn't matter that it was already it's weird to set the precedent now when you had stuff like Phantom Liberty come out previously, and that one kinda got skipped over, but that was some people's favorite expansion. Was probably not quite as big, but similar in
Did it get
scale.
nominated for game of the year? I thought it got
I
nominated.
don't remember on that one. I
I
feel
know it
like
got
I
nominated for best ongoing game, you're right,
yeah.
which also
Which
doesn't really
also
make
is
any
like, that's
sense.
not an ongoing game, that's a DLC, like,
Yeah.
that's not a live service
Well,
game.
they've kind of turned it into an ongoing game by the virtue of the fact that they've had to fix so much shit, but yeah, I
But I was
agree.
like, patches are not ongoing, like, Once Human or First Ascendant with Seasons or any ongoing, like, seasonal live service, Destiny, Apex, like, that is what I picture. Even at this point, like, No Man's Sky is flirting the line between both of those because it just keeps releasing updates, but that's a weird one that's been lasting forever. Uh, yeah, I mean, there hasn't been quite as many just elite games, so it is a weird year for stuff, but I am glad Black Myth Wukong made it on the list. I would have nominated that one personally. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with that one. Um,
Yeah, that got nominated, right, for game of the year.
that did.
I haven't played it yet, but I have no problem with people saying it's one of the better games this year.
Yeah, Astrobot, that one makes total sense. I haven't played it yet, but it's on my list to, like, play on my PS5 Pro, so
Just based on what people are telling me, although people also told me that about the last 2 Astro Bot games, and I did not agree with those assessments.
uh,
So, we'll see if
I
we'll
enjoyed
see
the
if,
free one that came with the PS5. It was short, but I enjoyed my time. It wasn't challenging
just
per
same
se.
thing with the VR game, like, they're both kind of just, like, tech demos, right? Like, they're
Yeah,
interesting games, but they're saying that this one is more of, like, a full fleshed out game, which sounds great to me.
yeah. I think my buddy said some of the early levels are easier, but then when you get into the challenges, they're, like, for real, so I'm kinda curious to see how that lands. What else? I mean, you had Plucky Squire, Frostpunk 2. What else?
Plucky Squire. Frostpunk 2, well, I heard that game was I previewed that game and I really, really liked it, but then I never played the game when it came out. Didn't you play
I
that
played
game?
it,
I
yeah,
thought
I
you
played it.
reviewed it
I
or
gave it
something.
a
An 8,
8,
I think it
I
was.
think, yeah,
Yeah.
I gave it an 8. It was I had heard about, like, kinda dug into, like, YouTube coverage of what the first one did, and always heard that it was, like, tough decisions, stuff like that, and just as you're
Oh
going, it's
boy,
a
isn't
v
it?
uh, yeah, it was like, "Do you want to sacrifice the old people or the children?" It's like, "Whoa." So, I mean, but I thought they
Answer the
kept
question.
I thought they kept the spirit of it, but moved, like, the world of Frostpunk bigger without losing the spirit of Frostpunk, which I feel like they easily could have lost what made Frostpunk Frostpunk, but they didn't, and I thought that was actually extremely well done for the sequel. I thought they did a great job doing that. Something
Very
like
cool.
Animal Well, that's one that I know I probably wanna play. Neva, I
Oh
probably
yeah, I
just would
played
cry
that,
too
that's a good one.
much. Uh, Silent
Yeah,
Hill
you have a
2,
soft spot for animals.
yeah. My best friend, lives on the other side of the town that I'm in. They just had to put their cat down, like, yesterday, so it was we were over at their house for the I was over at their house for the fight, and that cat hadn't been eating that much, and then or hadn't been eating at all, and then they told us, like, yesterday that they had to put it down the day before, so they've been
Damn.
dealing with that. And then literally today, so that was yesterday, we figured that out, and we went to go see The Wild Robot. By the way, an extremely good movie.
That's
Um
what I hear.
Yeah, very, very good movie. If you get a chance to see it in theaters while it's still
Looks a
there,
little bit, looks a little bit Avatar to me. A little Pocahontas, a little
it's
Ferngully, a little Dances with Wolves, a little The Last Samurai. You know what I mean? A little bit of the, sorry for apartheid, sorry for colonialism
it's actually not
type
that really.
genre of
It's
movie.
not so much
Is it
that.
not? Not the sorry for colonialism? You sure?
No, it's not.
It's a very popular genre,
It's not what
Bunkus.
that is. It is not.
Alright, okay.
No,
Alright, I'll take your word for it.
it honestly, I mean, yeah, I cried a couple times in it, but
You
it
cried a
was
couple times. You're an emotional dude. You're
I got emotions, man. I'm not afraid
Good
to
for
say that
you.
I've got emotions, so I don't
Good for
I'm
you.
okay
You would
with
have
that.
loved My Wedding.
I would've. I know, I'm still
Yeah.
mad about that.
Yeah, it was everybody being emotional except for me.
I mean, that's fair. And sounds spot on for you as
Uh,
well, so that's,
it was very spot on. We
uh
talked about it. My a lot of my vows were about, like, how I'll never understand her, but that's okay because 'cause I'm a robot.
um,
It's good.
but it is a great movie, like, it lived up
Cool.
to the hype, I was pleased. And then so that was
What
yesterday.
about Gladiator 2? Did that make you cry? Have you seen that yet?
I haven't seen it yet, it's not out yet. I think it came out
I don't
this
know. Maybe you
weekend.
have special access. You're a content creator, bro. You got that access.
So, I would like to see that one. I think it comes out today if you're doing, like, Thursday night previews, but we'll see.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm seeing it
Yeah.
tomorrow
Yeah,
with
I
B.
will try and see it this weekend if I can, because I really wanna see that. My wife's gonna go see Wicked with her friends, but I'll still probably see that again with her because I wanna see Wicked. Um, trying to think. Then we got Moana 2. There was one other movie that I kinda wanted to see to wrap up the year, but I forget what it was.
Moana
Oh,
2.
I enjoyed the first one, it was fun, but Wild Heart's just like, or not Wild Heart, Wild Robot, I was thinking of the game. Um, Wild Robot's just like, it's kinda one of those, it's a nice one to watch, and no, it's not the Pocahontas colonialism, whatever you're thinking of. It's not that. It's not that at all.
Sorry for colonialism. It's a very popular genre.
I mean, that's fair, but that's not what that is.
Alright,
Uh,
fine.
trying to see what else came out that I hadn't really thought of yet. Yeah. I mean, stuff like Flight Simulator 2024 should have been a no-brainer, and I feel like it's just like stepping on a rake with the servers and stuff, so that one's having some struggles. Um, Mario and Luigi Brothership probably should have been a little better. Soccer 2 needs some work, but has potential there. Just, that's kinda how the year feels. There's a lot of things that are in process and in the works. Indiana Jones is gonna come in after the window and then get forgotten about for Game Awards, so we'll see how
Yeah.
that one lands.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
It's
hoping
funny,
I
I think some companies use the fact that December games get taken out of award season to explicitly keep their games out of consideration. Like, I fully believe that that's what 343 Industries did with Halo Infinite, not because the game was bad, but because if it didn't win Game of the Year, people would say that it was bad, and so they just released it in December. Because that's like a
that is
lose-lose
an interest
situation when you're
yeah, that is an
when you're
interesting
that
one.
anticipated, it's like
Yeah.
either you win Game of the Year or you don't, and then just even you not winning Game of the Year is enough for people to, like, deride you, and so I honestly think some studios just release the game in that, like, late November, early December window specifically to not be considered.
The one that bugs me is now February is just like and February, the only thing that makes sense to me is some fiscal year that all these games, they wanna stack it in February, have about a month for people to buy the game, and have it hit, like, financials for Q1, whenever their quarters or fiscal years are or
I think
something,
it's,
because it's just so weird to me.
I
But
think it
they
has to
all are
do
doing
more
it.
with, like, play. I mean, there's probably some of the little fiscal timing. Although I don't know, most of the companies I've been a part of, their Q1 ends at the end of January, not at the end of February, so that doesn't really check out too much. But
But
some end in like May or March or April. Like
yeah.
there's a bunch of times, but my guess would be it has more to do with like the successful windows. Like we found that summer is a good time for smaller games, but the big games get destroyed because everybody's outside,
Yeah.
right? And so that's like a period you don't want to release a game unless you are releasing it primarily in Asia, which we saw from your monkey game,
Black Myth
your
Wukong?
monkey
That was
Black Myth
summer.
Wukong. Yeah, that was summer because it's the winter season and the parts of the world where they were mostly selling the game. So I think there's I think there's strategy around like when you put out a game based on what your
Yeah.
market is doing at that point in time,
It's
right
just like
before the rainy
February is
season.
like oddly stacked, so I feel like not
Yeah,
everybody's gonna buy every game because if you do Like a Dragon, Yakuza in Hawaii, Monster Hunter
Yakuza.
Wilds, Avowed, um,
Monster Hunter's. I thought Monster Hunter's coming out end of year next year.
Monster Hunter's February 28th.
Shut up.
Dead serious.
Get
We're
the
like
fuck out of
less than
here.
100 days away from Monster Hunter Wilds.
No way.
But like 20 hours into the preview. I'm unless they
What?
delay it, yeah.
Oh my god.
So, Kingdom Come
I'm gonna have a
Deliverance
busy
2,
February.
February 11th. Civilization 7, February 11th. Assassin's Creed Shadows. I don't know if that'll come out, but we'll see. February
It will.
14th. And then Avowed, February 18th. Like a Dragon, Hawaii, February 21st, which got moved up because it was on the same day as Wilds, which is the 28th. It makes
Smart.
no sense to me to put all of those in the same. Somebody should move, even if you go to like if you go look at March right now, you have, like, Football Manager, Suikoden Remaster, Xenoblade Chronicles X, a remaster, Atomfall, which I've only been hearing mixed things about. Like, there is nothing 0 major games that I can see there in March. Like, if you could bump Avowed maybe to the March
I mean, something will
21st.
get bumped. Something
Something
will bump in
should, but
March.
and then sadly it won't, and then they wonder, it's like, all these games don't sell because you release all these giant games and nobody's, like, playing everybody plays chicken and then nobody moves, and then 3 different games fail because they all try to compete against each other. Very
Yeah.
weird to me.
Um, it is an odd balancing act. Um, yeah. I think there's probably a reason they're not releasing the games at that time period. I think people are just more indoors. End of winter, beginning of spring, lots of rain going on. I don't think people are going outside.
Yeah, I don't know, we'll see, but I know not all of those can succeed together, at least it doesn't feel like it. I mean, I know Civilization and Like a Dragon probably not competing with the same audience, but
Yeah. I think a lot of these aren't competing with the same audience. I don't think Monster Hunter is competing. I think maybe Avowed and Monster Hunter are competing because they're both kind of the same types of long RPGs, but even then they're so like one is a Western RPG and the other one is like a barely an RPG and
Well, then
also
you got
very
Assassin's Creed and
Japanese.
Like a Dragon in there too, and they've got their progression. I don't know, RPG or adventure or whatever you're gonna classify
Like a
them as.
Dragon Like a Dragon is an RPG most of the time, but it just depends what style they're going with. I think this
Yeah.
might be one of the fighting ones, so,
It's kinda one of
uh,
those where I just see a lot of games that, for one, I wanna play, but a lot of games that I would like to see succeed. Like Avowed, I would like to
well,
see succeed, but I feel like,
it'll succeed. It's gonna be on Game Pass.
I mean, it will, and they should be
People will play
fine,
it.
but yeah.
Also, it's a Obsidian Western RPG. I think their audience is pretty specific. It's smaller, but it's
Yeah.
specific. They'll all wanna play that game.
Previews are looking good on that one
Um,
today too, actually, I saw those.
yeah. Yeah, I know some people who played it, and they're pretty stoked about it. One of
Yeah.
them is Destin. Hung out
GTA
with him last
6,
night.
where was I listening? I think you were talking about McCaffrey, and you were like, "Yeah, that's 2026. That's that's getting
Yeah,
delayed."
I don't believe it's coming out this year.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
like
they're
why
like,
the rest
would
of
they rush
2020.
GTA 6 out to make room for Borderlands 4 in 2026? And I was like, "No.
No.
No, they won't. They
Borderlands
will
4
not do
has,
that."
like, 1% of the worry
Yeah.
compared to GTA 6. Like, Borderlands is cute in
GTA 6
comparison.
is the future of their business. It will come out whenever they say it comes out.
Yeah. When it's ready, when they feel, yeah, they can't do like, "Oh, Microsoft Flight Simulator. This should be a gimme for the flight simulator community," and they botch it. It's like, "GTA 6, this is our thing for the next 10 years. Oh, we
Is
botched the
Flight
launch."
Simulator not good? The new
I've
one?
heard there are, like, server issues and stuff like that. I saw a couple videos, like,
Really?
yeah, it's, I think it was even
Oh,
McCaffrey was like,
that's
"Here they
so
go, stepping on a
disappointing.
rake or something again," and it was about that, if I remember right.
Oh, that's annoying. I love Flight Simulator.
Where
I
was
didn't
it?
buy it yet.
Uh, he said it too, and I was like, "Oh, man." Oh, here we go.
Bummer.
Here it is. It was yesterday. It said, "Reset the board, everyone. It has been 0 days since Microsoft last stepped on a rake. The last flight sim got a 10, and by all accounts, has tons of players. They completely underestimated the demand for flight sim, even after tests, and it's just like the collapse after overwhelming server issues and everything else. It's just, yeah,
But the game
collapse.
isn't bad, it just has server issues. Because that's you can fix that.
Yeah, they just, Steam
If it,
reviews
like,
are
got a
over.
bad re if it got a bad review from, like, reviewers who were playing it early, I would be concerned.
Yeah, I think it's just Steam reviews are like overwhelmingly negative right now because it's,
There you go. That'll self, correct if, they fix it.
yeah. So, well, played any of
Servers
this?
are hard, man.
Oh
And,
man,
yeah, even if you cloud servers accounting for, like, demand, it's not easy work, man. That's why they have so many engineers.
no. I mean, it was. What was I seeing that they were tested? Oh, I can't remember what it was. Something for next year, but I mean, Monster Hunter Wilds, I think they had a little bit of a early bump in the road with even just the open beta. They didn't expect 450,000 Steam people on there, much less what console was, and
Idiots. You should have expected 450,000,000.
I was like, Monster Hunter
It's not really
Wilds.
expecting it, it's like getting this if you know how buying server space works,
Yeah,
if you've ever worked around AWS or Snowflake, like, it's not just like, "Oh, you know, it'll work no matter what." Like, it's complicated. You
yeah,
have to measure, you have to estimate, you have to budget because it costs money. It's complicated stuff, man.
indeed. Well, you played any of this thing called Destiny lately?
I have actually. I played a
Ah,
whole bunch of Destiny like maybe 2 weeks ago. I had like one day where I had like a 6-hour block and nothing really going on. And I was like, I could catch up on games or I could play Destiny, a game I haven't played in like 2 months. And I was like, let's do it. So I hopped in. The first thing I did was finish Act 3 of last episode,
okay.
which was so stupid. Very, very dumb. I finished it in like an hour and I did the exotic mission. The exotic mission is okay. It's not great. The final
Yeah.
boss fight is super irritating. It's like they tried to make it annoying on purpose. And then I did the secret puzzles in
Yep.
that exotic mission as well, and those were also pretty boring. Like just not really
Yeah, they weren't
interesting
much of a mind
mechanics.
stretch. I figured them all out
I
just
was like, all
without
right,
looking anything up.
you kind of just shoot things. Cool. And then I moved on to Act 1 of this new season. I enjoyed that so far a little bit more. I still think the story is kind of dumb. Can I just say, I'm really sick of Destiny storylines that conclude with a character saying, "Well, I guess I'm imperfect, but I accept myself for who I am." I really hate that that has become the
That's
end
like
of
everybody.
every that's every freaking seasonal story is, "Well, guess I'm a flawed person, but I just have to love me for me." And I'm like, "Bro, that is the same plot line and arc and like is this are we watching Captain Planet episodes? Like what is this? Why is what is up with this weird after school special moral like lesson of self-acceptance every season? It's
Well, I feel
so
like
annoying to me.
what was that episode called? Echoes, right? Yeah, I feel like the first Echoes was like Saint gets kinda, like, taken over, and then he kinda shakes it off, and then the same thing in the end of Act 3, we're just, like, all trying to fight against her, and then we just, like, shake it off, throwing, like, a Nova
Yeah.
Bomb and a super at her, and then she just, like, falls down into the radial area and still doesn't die and fades away and takes the Echo with her. I was like, "So we did nothing for 18
Yeah.
weeks. We got nothing
You
accomplished. We
introduce
did
a
not get
new
the Echo
character.
back."
I feel like they're trying to introduce maybe a axis of evil or, what's the,
Sinister 6 or something.
Sinister Six, and I think maybe they'll team up and it'll become kind of a problem for us or something. I don't know,
Well,
but
how's
I
Aramis
think
treating you this episode?
I just I don't get it. I don't get what the problem is this season. What's the problem?
There are Scorn. Pickerel
Okay,
is back, and
okay,
he's powerful,
okay.
and
He wants to turn
he
all
hasn't
Fallen into Scorn, right? That's like the
something like
big
that. Yeah, he
threat.
wants to turn all Fallen into Scorn and kind of take that.
I will Okay, so obviously they're going for like just based on the opening cinematic, they're going for like an allegory for like racism and xenophobia, right? If this season ends with a Fallen saying, "I guess I just have to accept myself for my flaws and love me for who I am," I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it if we're sitting here looking at that. But I think we're staring down the barrel of some a pretty preachy story, another
Well,
after school special.
so you haven't played Act 2 yet, correct?
No, because that came out on Tuesday, right?
Correct. But did you play
Yeah,
Act
and
1? Like you played
I played
the
all of Act 1. I
Okay,
played all
got
of
it.
it. It took me like an hour, but I actually did end up playing Destiny like for a full day at one point because I was like, "Man, there's a lot of stuff to do."
Well, if you hadn't
And
done
I
Act
did
3
the
and Act 1, that's a decent bit.
Yeah, yeah, and I did a bunch of stuff that was like in between that. Like I did the hard mode of the exotic quest. And I got the exotic from that thing, that activity, which had a whole bunch of steps attached to it.
Yep.
I had to do that exotic mission like 5 times in a row. I wanted to
Yeah.
kill myself.
That was Act 3 was
Um
that exotic mission over and over and
Terrible,
over
dude.
and
I
over.
hated it. I was so sick of it. I like the first time I played it, I was like, "Eh, that was okay." And then by the fifth time I played it, I was like, "I hate this activity." Especially doing it on hard mode. Like the hard mode, the boss fight is just not fun. Like everything melts you immediately. It's just like, bro. I have not played the new dungeon yet. Oh wait, no, I did.
I thought you said you were
Yeah,
looking at for the new
I
dungeon.
have Icebreaker. Is that the new dungeon?
Yeah, that's the new dungeon. I don't even have
Scott
Icebreaker.
B saying the new dungeon is good. Scott B, you have low standards, sir. It is not a good dungeon. It is a derivative dungeon. It is uh, a copy and paste of of a raid they did before. I would not describe it as a good dungeon. It's very bland.
They took the raid mechanics and then also the exotic mission mechanics and tweaked them a little bit. Well, they gave
Yeah,
a slight different variation to like the suppressor and the operator and stuff like that. But it
yeah. It
was still this is how
it
this
feels like a
mechanic works. This is how this
yeah.
mechanic works. This is how this one works. Now put them all together.
And here's a boss you already fought. That's the final boss. That is a pretty bad dungeon, and I would describe it as a cardboard cutout of a Destiny activity.
Well, I mean, the more I keep looking through, where was I? I was looking at something. I was like, oh yeah, this is so we got Prison of Elders, which is, brought up from Destiny 1 and partially from Forsaken and all that stuff. And one of the challenge mechanics in there is the rifleman. So they just took a Baron and put him as a challenge in some of the boss rooms. Um, like Prison is fine. It's not I wouldn't say it's amazing, I wouldn't say it's bad either,
Right,
but
they brought back the Prison of Elders arena wave-based
yeah,
fighting,
that's
that
for
sort
Act
of thing.
2, so yeah, it's Tomb of
Cool.
Elders is
I've
like
not played
the
that yet, yeah.
Tomb of Elders is what they call, like, the one-round version, and then Contest of Elders is the one where you get, like, loops, where you go through it, like, 3 or 4 times. If you beat the challenge in a room, you get Warden's Favor, and if you get Warden's Favor higher and higher, when you go through each, like, loop, which starts at the Cryopod room, which you can skip after the first run, then you'll have, like, an enemy faction-themed room, you'll have a quick traversal section, and then a boss room. Not that long to go through, and you'll go through it about 3 or 4 times, kinda depending. Because I finished one loop in, like, 35 minutes, and we ended on Warden's Favor times 3, and then we went to, like, the treasure room, but we did another one where we were only at Warden's Favor times 2 after about that 30-minute mark, and it sent us back through again. So I don't know if you need to be, like, 3 runs in and be at Warden's Favor times 3, but basically the way you get Warden's Favor is by doing a challenge in a room, and it'll go +1. Do a challenge in the next room, it'll go +2. Challenge in the traversal section, it'll be +3. Thing is, when you get to +3, the challenges have a shorter time window on them now. So then if you're in the boss room and you're at times 3 and you don't get the challenge, then you finish the boss room and then go get your loot at times 2. So it's
Mm.
actually advantageous to be at times 3, fail the traversal to be down at times 2, so you have longer to do the critical challenge in the boss room to then get the loot at times 3, if you can sequence
Oh,
that. If you
boy.
like, if it's not that hard, like, if you actually had a team that talked, it's not that hard, period. Because 'cause I've done it with random people. So, like, if you had a team, like, on comms, it would be easy, I think, to be like, "Hey, here's the critical challenge. Everybody focus on that." The problem is I feel like I'm soloing some of the challenges because people are just like, "Let me nuke the boss," and not pay attention to the challenge. And that's also the problem with the first level, is it, like, gets progressively higher power level for the enemies. The first level, you'll get the boss out, and they'll nuke the boss before the challenge shows up. If they don't
Oh,
plan
good
it right.
times.
Yeah, so then you can't even get that, so then you go down to times 2 and you're like, "Thank you."
Wow,
So,
that's funny.
like, it's
Shout out
not
to Buff, by the way, Buff32. He played a lot of the old content and also has been grinding the dungeon with me. He
nice.
watched me get Icebreaker before he got it, even though
Oh,
he's done it more than me, so sorry about that, buddy.
yeah, so my 2 problems with the dungeon or with, Prison of Elders, Tomb Contest, whatever you wanna call it. 1, they called it a roguelike. It's not at all, 0. It is not a
Just
roguelike. Like
the same thing over and over again.
correct, yeah, it's the same you just have a random modifier in a room. That is it. That is not a roguelike. And they said that on the stream when we watched it. They're like, "Yeah, we're working on trying to do that, like, roguelike thing, a little bit." And I'm like, "No." I was like, "I do wanna tell, like, I don't know if Noah will ever hear this. Love your energy on the streams and everything. It's like, thank you for making the content, but this is not a roguelike at all." Like, Deep Dive was closer, the buffs you got from the coil, the Riven one, that was closer. This is just, like, random modifier in a room, modifier gone. That's it. And then from there, the only thing is, like, if you get Warden's Favor higher, +1 is there are more challenging combatants, +2, traps are now turned on, so they can be on and off. And then level 3, which is where it caps out at, that is the timer for the challenges being shorter. Well, that's it. After a while, you're like, "Okay, I get it." But the modifiers are basically all bad. Chill touch, so if you're touched by an enemy, you get slowed, grounded, famine for ammo, um, if there's one where you have, like, a bigger health bar, but if you lose health, you can't get it back unless you, like, do specific things. If you stand still, you're gonna just sit there and take damage. Like, none of them really benefit you. So, there's no, like, "Hey, I'm getting farther into this thing, I'm getting buffed, so I'm stronger." None of that. That's why I was like, the roguelike is out. Yeah, Hades is prime example. Perfect.
The godlike roguelike.
Oh, yeah. That's still gotta be just the best one I've ever played. Because it has the
Yeah,
roguelike
definitely.
mastered, and then one of the best stories you'll play too, and as you loop through, it gets better. Oh, Hades is so good. I haven't played
Rogue
2
Legacy
yet.
is really good.
Rogue Legacy I
Oh,
did
I have.
play.
Oh, Hades 2 is
Also good?
chef's kiss.
Nice.
Chef's
Okay.
kiss. Soundtrack alone, man. I
Oh, their
mean,
soundtrack's
I think
are that's Supergiant?
that was a game I think it got nominated for Game Awards this year, even though it's early access, so when
Yeah,
that
I
game
mean
comes out fully,
Yeah, when that gets a
It'll be a big one.
1.0, I'll be happy. And I only played Hades 1 and 1.0, I never played early access, and as I kinda missed the early access, like, boat for Hades 2, I might hold off until it's 1.0 just to jump in fresh, but yeah, Hades
I
1's so
do
good.
think I do think hanging out for a 1.0 makes it feel a little more special, but I could not help myself. Like, as soon as I saw it was out there, I was like, "I'm playing," and honestly, the game feels like it's done. I mean, I I don't even think I got to a point where it made me where, like, I hit a wall and it was like, "You can't play anymore." Like, I'm not really clear on what the game is missing right now. I
Oh,
assume it cuts off the story at some point, but I didn't hit the wall,
huh.
and I played, like, 20 hours of it, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, the early accesses that I'm waiting to hit 1.0 are No Rest for the Wicked and Hades 2. Both of those, when they go
Oh!
full
Did you
game.
play No Rest for the Wicked
Well, I put
early?
like 30 hours in it. Yeah, I was loving that
Yeah,
game, and
I
I finally
reviewed
got to
it.
the point where I was like,
Freaking
"All right, I kind of see where we're at." And I know they're gonna add more. They added like a huge update with the Crucible and stuff. I never actually got to that one, but yeah, I feel like if this is like maybe a third of what they're gonna build for the full game. That game's got so much potential when it gets done. Oh, so excited for that. Um, but yeah, the other main issue, besides the fact that it is not a roguelike at all, it's just loops with random modifiers and rooms. Now, the nice thing is it goes cryopod, enemy faction, traversal, boss. When you come back for your second loop, cryopod, you can skip if your warden's favor is higher. So then it's just
Oh!
faction, traversal, boss.
Oh! Fancy.
So there's a little benefit there, but all you do is just skip the early room and just go into more. Um, but yeah, it's like whether you're times 2 or times 3, you're getting 2 or 3 chests with some decent loot. You get to the treasure room, you get like 4 chests, and you're getting loot and tonic ingredients. Nobody that I've seen likes tonics, and this season's loot is just really kind of not exciting for a lot of people either. That's one thing a lot of people are saying is like the prison's fine, but overall the loot for the season, the loot for Tomb of Elders is just like
It's
okay,
whatever.
yeah. Um, that's just kinda one of
Unfortunate.
those yeah, it's just like, I think and then also the whole tonics as opposed to crafting, people are like, "Well, this is not the way you this is how you don't take away crafting because you this is not tonics are not great because 'cause they're timed, then you forget about them, and then half the time they don't work right." Tassie was like, "Oh, I ran, like, the purple tier tonic, and I did not get one of the gun I was going for to drop the whole time I was in Onslaught, and that was, like, an hour." So it's just like, I don't know if tonics are not working right and stuff like that. There are free guns in the gunsmith, free god rolls. You should probably go pick up a couple of them if you don't have them.
Oh, interesting.
Um, so it was one was the dungeon, but you have to have beat the new dungeon. So if you beat the new dungeon, yeah, dungeon. It's the grenade launcher with really good roll. I want to say it's like bait and
So
switch and
I'm
envious
caught
arsenal.
up on all of the activities except for this
Yeah,
Prison of
Tomb of
Elders.
Elders. Yeah, if you did the dungeon and the
There's
exotic
not a
quest, you're
new
good.
raid or
Nope.
exotic mission?
Exotic mission will be Act 3. That'll be coming in January. So you've got time for that. So yeah, it's like there are some good rolls in there. There's a indebted kindness with Volt Shot on it. I actually never had one of those with Volt Shot from what was it, Warden's Ruin or whatever it was. There's one of those. It's the Arc rocket pistol. You've got a hothead with clown cartridge on it. So if you just need a good arc rocket launcher for some purpose, that's in there. A couple PvP weapons. You've got Rose and multi mach is also in there as well. I was like, it's nice they're free in the whole perk weight gate. Did you hear about all that and kind of
Yes.
pass through and they figured it
I
out?
saw drop rates, people being skeptical of the things Bungie says. Sounds like classic Bungie community stuff. Did I
Uh,
miss anything?
no, I mean it was basically that like Bungie had never actually intentionally put perk weighting in there. They confirmed that, they checked. That was what happened was an accident where somehow like the way the API was set up, like the number of however the coding is done, however far one perk away was from another in the database or however it was set up for that they were pulling from, the distance from one perk to another actually changed the weighting of the algorithm somehow. So that was what was affecting everything. So they ended up changing that, and then they gave these guns away for stuff that people could have missed over the years, whatever it may have been. Um, so it was cool they fixed that and confirmed it, but it was just like it's kind of crazy that it's probably been going on for longer than we think crafting helped with some of that. And then now it's like, now that crafting wasn't there, it was just a combination of a lot of things happened all together, and it was just like, huh, wonder how long that's been that way.
Interesting.
Kinda one of those accidents and then in the code or whatever. But it
Ghost in the
was
Shell.
yeah, Ghost in the Shell or what was the what am I trying to think of? The iRobot
What's
line was
that?
like, "There's always Ghost in the Machine," is what I was thinking of. Um, but yeah, it's just but also on the other side,
Returnal is a
Returnal is
great
fantastic. I saw that listed
game.
there.
It's really
Did
good,
you beat that?
really good. I did,
Oh, so good. It's a
like, a
long
year
run to
after it
beat the
came
whole
out on
thing.
PC.
Oh, see, I wanted to almost go back on PC because I
I
would be
hated it on PlayStation
I'm
because
such
the
I
control
suck.
thing where
I
you have to
suck
where
on
no,
controller.
it's really it's not even the obviously, I'm great on controller, but it's the, having to 2 functions for the same button. The half press and the hard press
Oh,
on the
yeah.
right and left triggers
Yep.
made me want to kill myself. I
Oh,
really hate that. So, I just played it on a different controller.
I eventually beat it on PlayStation. Or yeah, I beat it on PlayStation. That was such a surprise of a game though, like, to work through it, then finally get through the full run, and when it finally starts coming together, you're just like,
Yeah.
that was a hell of a game. I can't wait to see
Cool
they're working
story
on
too.
something. They're working on
Yeah,
something
they are.
too. I'll be
Wouldn't be
curious what that
surprised if it's a
is.
sequel.
No, I don't think it is.
You don't know
Uh,
anything.
no, but just what I've
Fuck you,
heard.
okay?
What I've
You don't know
heard, rumors,
you
you
don't know
know?
anything.
No, I don't. I sound like I know nothing at all, but
They're actually making, Half-Life 3, that studio.
that's lies. Also lies.
No. Guys, I'm an insider. You could trust me, I'm an insider. Source, me.
You would have probably if
Source,
that
my
was
gut.
actually real, you just got fired. Because that would be
Or
Valve
what
and
if it was
half
real what if it was real, but I just got lucky, and then I get to walk around acting like I'm just like this Nostradamus for the
foreseer,
rest of my
yeah.
career? Yeah, just like, "Guys, trust me, I know everything." Remember that time I got it right about Half-Life 3? Crazy.
Would be a funny guess. Would be a funny guess.
You know how people just, they, like, reference their own tweets from, like, a long time ago whenever something happens? They'll, like, pull up an old tweet from, like, 2020 and be like, "See, I was right."
Yeah.
I feel like you could make a career out of just posting a bunch of random predictions regularly and then wait for one of them to come true and then act like you're really smart and then delete all the other ones.
Yeah.
I feel like
You could
that would
eventually
be
probably spread out the good and the bad side, like, far enough apart in advance and be like, "Well, this is gonna happen. Well, this isn't
Yeah,
gonna happen," and then just pick the one and delete the other. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Good
So,
times.
yeah, I played a little bit of Destiny, but I don't have much incentive to grind Tomb of Elders right now. I crafted enough tonics to get the field work done, which is I gotta ask about that. Did you do the field work for Act 1?
I did. Pretty stupid.
What
It's just random chores, right? Star chores.
that it feels like more of the epitome of Star Chores than than a lot of things we've done in a while, and I don't know why, but that feels so much like go into the corner and organize the closet. Here, refill this thing in the restaurant. It feels truly Star Chory. And then you get to the major field work, and it's like walk to the table and shoot 15 guys in 2 minutes, and they're right here in front of you. I'm like, okay, fire a rocket or use my machine. Like, they're not hard at all. I feel like zero effort was put into these, and I am sorry to bash on the process of making these, but I'm like, when I play these, I'm
No, I
going,
mean, look,
what am I doing? Why are these
developers
a thing?
developers know what they're doing, right? I've never run into a developer that's gotten criticism and been like, "What? I didn't see that coming at all."
Yeah.
Usually, we're like, "Yeah, you got me.
I was
We
like,
kinda messed that up."
these feel lazier than normal, and I hate to say that word specifically because I know game dev isn't lazy, but these are a little bit more of the official filler than usual. And I don't know, it's like even last season, just like still running around, or last episode was, running around in the echoes and doing stuff. This feels just like go shoot a couple guys, pick up a rock on the ground. You wanna
Oh,
know
yeah,
the best
dude.
one? One of the ones this act is go get 5 rounds of Altars of Sorrow on the moon.
Oh, god.
I will tell everybody how to do this right now. Go to altars, like if you see anybody just doing it, find an instance where it started,
Yeah.
shoot an enemy, and then just go stand right inside the cave of the lost sector, and then just don't AFK, and you'll be done. Like I never do that anymore. I just sit there and like mess around, like watch an episode of Netflix, move my mouse a little bit, and then the next thing I was
Why
like
don't you
done
just Dude, you're the worst. Why do you do that?
because I don't
Just
want to do the activity. I've done it
But
for
everybody
8
else has to
years
do it. Why do you just get to
because
coast?
because I've done enough. I've done
Bro, no, dude. That
it.
You know what?
I'm
Teddy
over
does
here
this too.
soloing. I'm over here soloing challenges in the middle of
So
Prison of
what?
Elders.
It takes a village, you leech. God, you're such a parasite. Dude,
Yes,
honestly.
one bounty. I'm a parasite. Don't
Okay,
mind the
well, you know
fact when I'm
what?
running strikes and everything else. I'm
That's how it
making.
starts. That's how it
Okay,
starts.
okay,
Next thing you know, you're Teddy joining strikes and never leaving the spawn point and letting it two-man strikes.
okay.
That's what
Thank
he
you
does
very much. I'm
because
usually the
he
one trying to
is
carry my strike team. I thank you very much.
because he is an immoral person. Teddy, come in the comments. I want to fight you right now. God, I miss you.
I
Do you know
have.
Teddy?
Do you
Teddy
know how
invited
many
himself to
times
my
I have
honeymoon.
bound? Oh, well, that's fun.
Yeah, he found out I was going to be in Japan and he was like, "I'm inviting myself to your honeymoon." And I was like, "Teddy, you can't. I'm trying to get it in." And he was like, "Yeah, I know. That's why I'm coming."
Trying to get it in. You haven't
Anyway,
figured it out yet.
no, I have she kept saying she was waiting until marriage and now she's saying she's waiting until it feels
Sorry.
right. So I don't know. It just hasn't happened yet. She has a headache. She's had a headache for about 5 years. Yeah.
Too many
So
jokes there. Anyway.
anyway.
No, okay. I will say I
Good
have done
times.
enough in this game. You I've also bounty prepped, and I have done Altars of Sorrow more than I care to ever do it. I have
Okay,
put my time into that activity. So at this
cool.
point, if I mooch off of a couple other people knocking it out for me, I will on that one activity, I will do it. I don't slack in Crucible and sit there at the spawn point. I actively play every strike that I'm in.
You're
I
filth.
You're filth.
Scum! Scum Lord E. You know what? This is worse than if you became a mask off grifter streamer.
Oh
This
yeah,
is worse
this
than
is
that.
worse.
Yeah, this
Just
is
mooching
worse.
off Altars of Sorrow players. That's
Mooching
what
off
that.
Altars
This
of
is
Sorrow
where
players
Travis draws the line.
knowingly while
Altars of
watching
Sorrow.
Netflix. You're a son of a bitch. You know that? A real son of a
I'm glad
bitch.
we finally found your line. It took a
Yeah,
while. It took quite
it's
a
true.
while to find this
I
line,
mean,
but
look, there's
mooching
some things
Altars of
I'll
Sorrow. That's it.
yeah,
It's over.
there's some things I'll let slide, but Ayn Rand would call you, sir, a parasite, and I'm look, she's a smart lady.
I mean, that's fair. I'll take the blame on this one
All right,
thing.
cool. Appreciate you stepping up, taking responsibility. You will be charged a fine of $10,000 and no more than 8 months in prison.
Oh,
So,
good. Okay.
yeah,
Seems very reasonable.
I think so. Chat, sound off in the comments if you think people should have to go to prison for
Mooching
mooching
Altars of Sorrow.
mooching Altars of
Specifically.
Sorrow.
Nothing
Yeah,
else
or
in the
really just
game.
really any activity in Destiny, but like Altars of Sorrow included. If they AFK and let you finish the activity for them, should they go to jail? And bonus question, how long should their sentence be? I think they should have to do community service because then they give back to the community that they ripped off. It kind of makes the community whole. I think that's a really good punishment. Prison, yes. Prison of
Prison of
Elders.
Elders.
If you think about it, we're all in the Prison of Elders because we're still playing Destiny.
Outsanity said
Kind of sad.
they should work in Bungie Q&A for free. I was like, don't all the players do that right now?
We're all working
We're
at
all
Bungie
working
QA
at
for
Bungie
free.
QA for free. We do that every day.
Little do you know.
Yeah, every time you sit there and you're inactive, it takes away one Ascendant Shard. It just is like -1.
Honestly, as long as those materials go to the people that did it, I think that's fair.
I can handle it for enhancement prisms. If you do that for me, I'll give you my prisms. I can go earn those back.
Really?
They can have my
You're giving out
prisms.
prisms, huh? All
Not the
right, I'll take
shard.
a
I'm not
prism.
taking golf balls, but you can have my prisms. I got way too many of those.
Oh, I'll take your prisms for sure.
Yeah, that's fine. Yes,
It's
I'm
not the
so
first time I've taken Ebontis's prism.
I don't even know what that means. Have to do blueberry carries in the dungeons. Yeah. No. I make these crazy dungeon guides so you guys don't need me to be there. That's the whole point. I show you every step. I'm there for it
Then
all.
you don't get the completion, bro. It's the way it works.
Yes,
Mooch.
I I have a confession. I'm an Altars of Sour Mooch.
Yeah.
It's official. I'm
I'm gonna approve.
I'm coming clean.
I'm gonna approve Scott's comment. I think it's important. Okay,
Okay.
great.
Have you played Dragon Age?
I have.
I am 2 quests, I think, away from the point of no return. I looked up a list just to
Oh
see where I
wow,
was. I'm close. I'm like
you're
50 hours
way
in.
further than me.
Oh, I'm
Way
like
further than me.
50 hours in.
I'm like 10, 15 hours in, maybe. I don't
I've
know.
been trying to kinda blast through that one.
I'm hanging out with some crows of Antiva.
Yep. What is it? Lucanus.
Yeah, Luke
Yeah.
Anus.
Thank you for that. Now,
What?
in my opinion on that game, there's one character that feels forced to a point, but like overall, I'm having a decent time with the characters. I don't know where you're at on it, but but my buddy and I are like, yeah,
It's okay.
there's one that feels a little like
Little forced in,
little
preachy.
shoehorned.
Yeah,
But, like, honestly, the
yeah.
rest of them, especially, like, because I'll just say, like, Nev, for example, she was who I was romancing, but even before, like, the romance part, just, like, learning about her and, like, Balara's backstory, specifically those 2, I was like, "There's real moments in there," and I was like, "This
I
game got a
want to
lot of
romance.
crap."
I want to romance the nerdy elf. She reminds me of
Balara.
my real life wife. Yeah, she's good.
Did she
I like
actually
her.
yeah, I could see her
Yeah,
in
kinda.
her yeah,
She's
I could
got that
yeah.
same vibe. Very bright and hopeful and smart, but also kind of a goofy dum-dum.
Yeah,
Love her.
little naive,
10 out of 10.
little
A
yeah.
little naive, maybe falls for somebody who reminds her vaguely of her father. You never know. What do you think?
Sounds spot on for you.
Hell yeah, dude. You got daddy issues? Come on over.
No,
There's
I went with Nev, she's, kinda had to go for
that's just
the
you're so generic, bro. I
am
bet you
I?
romanced Miranda in Mass Effect 2.
I'm trying to no, I went for Liara, I think.
Uh, you can't in Mass Effect 2. You're thinking of Mass Effect 1. Liara is not a companion in Mass Effect 2.
Oh, well, then I probably yeah, I'm trying to think. Where was the it's been a while since I
Jack,
played those. No,
bald lady,
no, it was the
Miranda,
DLC. I feel like it was a DLC thing where you go like
Shadow,
that.
Broker.
Was that
Yeah,
Liara?
that's Liara. You get to
Okay, that
go
I
to
did.
her, and if you romanced her in 1, then you can, like, set up a romance in 3,
That's
but
what
she
okay.
can't become your romance partner in
Then
2.
apparently it teased it there or something. So yeah,
It
okay.
teases it, yeah.
That's what I
You
did.
set up the so you did Liara in 1 and 3, Miranda in 2.
I never played
Sir,
3. I never got to 3, sadly.
sir, you are the most generic Commander Shepard of all time.
I'm sure that's true.
Yeah. You gotta go gay in at least 1 game, okay?
If you were gonna do
My
it in
argument.
Dragon Age if you were gonna do it in this Dragon Age, would you have you met everybody yet or not yet?
No, I have not met everybody yet, so I don't know who to go gay for.
Trying to think who I would in this one. Uh,
I hear one of the characters is a real demon in the sack
so to
because 'cause he's
speak.
got a demon inside of
I was
him.
like, so to speak, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, that character, Lucanus,
Does that
sounds
count as
like
a threesome?
2 and a half some maybe, I don't know.
2
How do you
2 and a half
2 and a
some?
half some, yeah,
Okay.
that's
Mm,
it's
okay.
like you've got a +1 on the invitation, but you're not sure if they're coming. No pun intended, by the way.
No, pun intended. You gotta get that ectoplasm. Where do you want me to
Oh my
put that
god.
ectoplasm,
Oh my
bro? Where you
gosh.
gonna
Hey everybody. How's last word after dog? Where is Cognito when we need him for
Guys,
this one?
look, it's been a
Uh
while since I've been on this show, and I'm letting it out.
yeah.
I'm taking my belt off.
He's got a really tight ship when he is on
Mhm.
unlocked. They run a clean
Yeah,
show there. So here
very clean.
the guardrails come down
This
and
is who I am. Just know that I'm being fake back then,
that's
you
fair.
know?
That I
Yeah,
figured as much.
this is my real personality. So,
Yeah.
sorry. Not
No,
sorry.
not sorry. No, it's
Not
just
sorry.
funny.
Gotta keep it
Uh
clean for the kids.
yeah.
Podcasts Unlocked is 90% minors, most of them under 8 years of age.
Yeah.
That's not true at all.
I'm so you've so lost me. I'm just like I can't right now. I'm
I
so
just
so
love your
far gone.
reaction. Alright, well, there we go.
But no, I'm enjoying my time. Overall, I think just, like, what I've played, I haven't finished it yet, but, like, as an overall game, I think I would probably end up giving it about an 8. I'm not done yet, but I think that's where I'd probably put it. I could see you going probably 7 to
I
8, somewhere in there.
probably, based on what I've played so far, I would say 7, but everybody tells me the end of the game is one of the best endings to any game
That's
ever,
what I
that,
keep
like,
wanting to
it's
get
the
to.
best
I hear, like, the
Bioware.
last 4 hours are just,
Yeah.
like,
So, if that's true, my mind could be changed, but based on what I played, the combat seems okay, the writing is a little corny, the characters I don't know well enough, but I love Ballara, she's great.
Laura, yeah,
Um,
everybody wants to protect Laura. That's one thing I saw on
yeah, she
Twitter.
needs to be protected, she's the best. And, yeah, that's it. I mean, I wasn't blown away by it, and I have not organically come back to it after playing, like, those first 15 hours.
Yeah.
Granted, I have other stuff I'm, like, playing, like, I'm trying to get through Miles Edgeworth still.
Huh?
I've been Miles Edgeworth?
I don't even know what that
Investigator?
is.
Oh,
Oh.
you silly, silly boy. Miles Edgeworth Investigations is
Oh, is it Ace Attorney?
Ace Attorney game, yeah, where you play as the prosecutor this time. So,
Oh.
little twist in the formula. It's very good. So I've been getting through that, and then D and I don't know if I told you this, but D and I, when we first met, I found out she had never seen Star Wars, and I was like, "Well, we have to watch it," and she said, "No, maybe when we
She's
get
just like,
married."
"No."
So when we got married, we started watching Star Wars. We've been spending a lot of time watching Star Wars. There's a lot
So
of Star Wars
are
to watch.
I was gonna say, are you gonna include all of the shows in this now?
Yes,
Okay.
we have included all the shows, and we are in chronological order all the way up to the 2nd season of Mandalorian, which,
That's what I
for
was
those
gonna
at
ask.
home,
Where does it go?
so
Prequels?
we watched original trilogy, and then we have since then gone back and watched it chronologically, including the Acolyte. So she went straight from the original trilogy to Acolyte, which makes no sense. And then she watched the prequel trilogy, and then we went back for the Clone Wars, and then after the Clone Wars would be Bad Batch, and then after Bad Batch is like all of the Imperial era movies and shows, Solo, uh, Kenobi, uh, all seasons of Rebels. Yeah, there's a lot, dude.
Yeah.
Like if I had to guess, I would say it's in the hundreds of
Well,
hours.
there's
And
no more.
we finished
Yeah.
Andor, Rogue One, like we've done all
Andor's
of that
so
stuff.
good.
Oh god, dude. God,
Andor
it's
was
good.
excellent.
Straight into my veins.
I will say
Also, Andor
episode
hits
6, I think, of Andor, if I remember right, if, not The Escape?
no, that's episode 7, One Way Out.
That might be the you know what I'm
Not
talking
that I
about, though, like, the
not that I
visual.
remember every single episode by memory, but yes, that is episode 7 entitled One Way Out, the best season of any Star Wars show.
That one, Stellan Skarsgård's, like, just
Wait,
2.5 minutes.
wait a second. Wait,
Thought
no,
it
I
was
think it's episode
6.
9. I think it's episode 9. No, it's later in the series because he gets out of prison and then there's only 2 episodes left after that.
It was
So I
before
think it
prison. No, the one I'm thinking about,
oh,
when they leave
describe it.
the planet and they take the
Oh,
like
the, heist?
yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah, the heist episode.
that's
That
the
would
one I was
be
thinking of.
episode 5 or 6, something like that. That's a
Yeah,
good episode.
yeah,
The heist episode is really good. Everybody loves a good heist,
yeah.
don't they?
That one's cool. Stellan Skarsgård's character is awesome in that, of course, he's a hell of an
His
actor.
name's Luthen, sir.
Luthen, okay.
Come
Excuse
on.
me.
Know the names of the characters in Andor like me.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, Dee is really liking Star Wars, which is a change for her because she does not normally connect with science fiction very much, which I have
Okay.
told her time and time again, this is not science fiction, it's a space opera. But I think she likes space operas more because the only space-based thing that she has liked before Star Wars was Mass Effect, which I also introduced her to, and she was hooked. So
Sounds
I told
spot
her,
on.
"Hey, Mass Effect is partially inspired by Star Wars, so
Makes
go play
sense.
Star
Yeah,
Wars."
it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Anyway, that's what I've been doing with my time. Watching
Yeah.
a lot of Star Wars and, catching up on some games, and yeah, I got a good review coming up soon. Path of Exile is gonna take a ton of my time.
Yeah, I wanna jump into that as well, and then I'm hoping I can get
I
indie
didn't get
I
to
hope I
play
get to play indie before launch, because like, if I
yeah,
can knock that out before Path of Exile, it'll be great.
I think you're running out of time.
Yeah, I
Are
know,
the reviews not out already?
I
or the review codes,
I
I
know
mean?
nothing yet,
Okay.
but I'm guessing it's
Yeah,
gotta be
I'm
soon.
really excited for that game. That game's gonna be cool.
I
Game's gonna
think
be
it'll
cool.
be I told you guys I was, like, a little skeptical with things, got my hands on it. I think it's probably all gonna come together, and I think it's gonna be a heck of a lot of fun. I think a lot like,
Yeah.
the story, the atmosphere, um, the voice work, all is gonna be there. I am curious when I spend time with the melee combat system, where I land on rating that because I didn't feel like I had enough time. Because then it's like trying to combo the whip in there, the melee. Once that starts meshing, I think it's got a lot of potential. I just didn't get as much time with that as I wanted. But
Yeah.
overall, like the
The com
world, the detail in there, dude, they did the research on like making something look like the 1930s. I'm like, nailed it.
Everyone I know went in skeptical and came out very excited for it, so
Yep, sounds
not a
just about
game of the
right.
year nominee, though, never will
No,
be. Good times.
that
We'll all forget
that
that
would
it
be
was
an
a
action adventure
skepticism.
game though. That would not be an action
Oh,
game.
for sure.
Yeah,
What's the difference between
somewhat
action
stealthy.
game and action adventure game?
I can tell you the games I would put in the categories. It's a little harder to find though, right? Like
Yeah.
Uncharted, obviously like indie. I'm trying to think because I don't have a ton of examples because it depends on the year of what examples would be. I guess a game that is more based around the journey you go on would be something I like. The importance of the journey and the story that ties into the journey that has action in it would be more of that adventure. Something where the major focus is the combat and the fighting and the moment to moment gameplay is where I would probably put the action. That would be a vague definition with off the hip, but kind of where I would put it. Because obviously, like
Interesting.
Sekiro or fighting game or not a fighting game, but just like an action game where the focus of the game, like I played the closed test or whatever for the first Berserker Kazan. That's an action game. I don't know what the story is. I know there's going to be a story there, but the focus of that game is purely like it is the combat. The focus is
Yeah.
not the combat in indie. It is the journey through the levels, solving the puzzles, the journey you go on with the character from A to B, like A to
That
Z.
is also my definition of an action adventure game, is
Okay,
that it
well, hey,
has to have split focus
fist
on
bump.
combat and some other sort of thing that is biding your time, which is usually like combat or, puzzles or something.
Puzzle, yeah, and the
Yeah, like
and a good
DMC, not an action adventure game.
no.
That's a game where you fly through the air with a chainsaw sword. That is an action game.
That does sound like an action game a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Do shooters count as an action game? Because there is no first person shooter or third person shooter category.
See, and that's one where I feel like when you see Call of Duty, is Call of Duty in the action category this year? Is that where
I
it
think it is,
falls?
yeah.
See, that's weird to me. Like, it is action because I actually played oh, that's another thing I did. I played the Call of Duty 6 campaign. Actually
Oh,
played
nice. I
through and
have
beat the
not
whole
gotten
thing.
to it yet.
I will say I haven't played a Call of Duty campaign in a while, but I had a good time. I did. I will give that also an 8 out of 10 because having not played a Call of Duty campaign in a while and hearing a mixed bag about a whole lot of stuff over the years, just jumping in and playing this one, I was like, this is pretty legit. Because there was like very
Is it
different
too legit to
pacing.
quit?
It is too legit to put down. Yes, I had to just blast it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
But they paced the levels in a different way where it kept things fresh enough where it wasn't just like go through here and shoot these guys in a line and go from point A to point B every time. The mix of missions were well done and I think well timed that I had a good time. I was actually pleasantly surprised how much I enjoyed that. It was trying to think, probably close to about 9-10 hours, but like there was one mission that's a bit more open. I did every single objective on that map screen. So yeah, so that's kind of what I've been doing too. I've been trying to mix in other games. I've been trying
Love it.
to
Other
catch up.
games will set you free.
Oh,
Destiny
so
is often
much.
mid.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the time where Destiny does have its struggles to see where it's going to hold people's attention, how long it's going to be. I mean, we have a long ways until we get to June, we think, for what Apollo, whatever that's called. And I think right now, just people are busy doing other stuff a lot of the time. Yeah, we're back down to the average 30-ish thousand players. And that's like where it seems to kind of bottom out is that like upper 20s, lower 30s all the time. But I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 still has 60,000 people playing it, which is just ridiculous.
Oh, it
I'm so
does?
happy that Baldur's Gate 3. I'm so
Wow.
happy that game has had the success it is because they're independent and they've had so many patches and added like
They're an indie studio.
yeah, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know if I'll jump into soccer. I hear the day one patch helped quite a bit. I'm kind of curious about it because I've got Game Pass, so it might be one of those that I'm just like, see what happens. But if I get a chance to play something else early, then maybe not. So we'll see. But yeah, go see Wild Robot if you can, or if it comes to streaming and you see it come across your TV, it's worth a watch. But for now, yeah, I think that kind of catches us up on things.
Hell yeah.
We'll try to, lasso
Try to get Cog
Cognito and
back
get
at
him
some
back into
point.
his chair at some point. Yeah, he's
I'll,
busy.
uh, I'll send a search party out for him, find out if he's still kicking.
He's out there. He's out there in the world. He's just, incognito at the moment.
That's right. That's what
Yeah,
he does best.
that is
Maybe he's so good at being a ninja that he's actually me right now. Maybe he's just wearing a mask. Have I said anything Cog-like this episode to make you believe that maybe I'm not the real
he's
Travis?
just off camera pointing a gun at you, just yeah, making you
No, I'm
say
thinking
certain things.
he's sitting in this chair wearing a
Oh,
mask.
I don't
Yeah.
know if you can pull that off.
I think it's all I
Proportionally,
mean,
you guys are a little bit different. I've met you both, so
it's all
that's
just to scale though. I'm actually just sitting way farther away from this
oh,
mic to
okay.
make it look like yeah, it's all optical illusion, dude. Come on, man. You don't have the eye of a magician. It's
Probably
an
not.
illusion, Michael.
It's an illusion. Well,
All
thank you,
right.
John,
Well,
with the listen. But John's like, I quit playing Destiny a year and a half ago, and listening to this regularly. Nothing that's been said is making him want to play again.
that's fair. Yeah, you don't have to play again. Although if you hopped in now, you could play the fantastic Final Shape
I
campaign.
was like, Final Shape campaign is what I would say everybody.
Pretty
If you
good.
if you have a history in Destiny, you should play that campaign. Maybe
But
you
here's the
wait for it
thing.
to be on sale, but still, that's what I would
Hop
say.
in, play that campaign and then stop playing again. That's what
Yeah.
I would do. If I
Well,
had any choice in it, I would play Destiny as casually as possible and just have a very positive relationship with it because the more into Destiny you get, the less you enjoy it.
yeah. Oh yeah, there's definitely some content creators that I kind of follow and watch, and gonna be. Oh yeah, I played Destiny Rising for a hot second.
Oh yeah, we haven't even talked about that. I
Yeah,
did not get into the beta. I signed up as soon as that thing went up,
I
but I
got
never got a code. So
access through kind of an agency thing to give it a shot, so I've got it.
nice.
Um,
Looks cool. I would play that. Sometimes
so
you need
I
a phone game.
was I was mirroring it on my monitor, so it didn't look as good on the monitor. But my phone, like I have a 15 Pro Max, so last year's, but still a good phone. And I will be honest, like looking at that, I was like, this is what I picture. And granted, it's like iPhone size, but like this is what I picture playing on my PS4 was like. And I was like, and it's in my damn pocket. I was like, now granted, it felt a little like I was playing with an Xbox
Looks pretty
controller, and
good,
I
huh?
suck with controller, but it was like it looked pretty damn good. The world's actually pretty good size. There's a lot of classes and stuff. It's gonna be a gotcha game. But overall, I am actually impressed
Not bad.
yeah, I'm impressed of what's in there. I don't think it's anything I'll sink a lot of time into because I don't do the whole gotcha thing, but if that's your jam, I think they're gonna probably get quite a few people in there. It'll be one to
Oh, I like
watch.
gotcha games. They're fun.
Yeah,
You
when you
never
do
play
get a
Genshin?
chance. No, I never did.
No, don't like the Hoyo games? Oh, dude, they're good.
I didn't have enough time to go sink into all that, but also didn't want to go down the rabbit hole of
You don't
dump
have to spend money.
yeah,
I didn't spend a dime on Genshin Impact, but if you play it long enough, you can get all the stuff. It's just you'll have to watch other people who value their money less
yeah.
being way ahead of you.
Oh yeah,
It doesn't really matter if it's a solo game. A lot of them are. Genshin
yeah.
is mostly a solo game,
I
so
mean,
you
it's
don't
something
really have
like
to deal with it.
Destiny Rising. If you don't do PvP, you'll just have somebody who looks like they're glowing like a god in your strike team, probably carrying you through. But
Yeah,
if they're
sounds
helping you
great.
out, so cool. So
Yeah,
I'll be
no
curious to
worries.
watch that one. I will just say, like looking at the phone, I was like, pretty damn good. Well, thanks for sharing this afternoon with me, sir. Hopefully, you
Yeah,
have a good
dude.
afternoon and rest of the
Fun
day.
as always.
Thank you, chat, for being here today. You guys have been good. We will get Cognito back in here soon, but I think we will
Maybe.
80%. Oh, I've been pretty disappointed with Dragon Age. It's 80%. I'm having a good time with Dragon Age, so but I'm kind of
I don't have a
enjoying.
problem with 80% cutscenes, but I do have a problem with some of the cheesy last action line movie writing. That gets me a little bit.
It has those moments, yeah. So I don't know. I just kind of looking for an adventure like that. I think I'm probably just being a little nice to it, but that's just kind of in the mood I'm in when I'm playing it. I'm here just to see
That's
where it
cool.
goes.
That's
Yeah.
fine, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all. And I think for this episode number 313, what is that? Anagram or whatever? Same backward.
Anagram.
Yep, backwards and
Yeah.
forwards. So we got one of those going through. We'll have one for a little while with the threes, but think you guys have a good one, and we'll get Cognito back in here to round out the trio soon. But for now, it's just Titan and Hunter signing off for this episode. It has been
The last
the
word.
last word.